Hello, welcome to my review of A Simple Favor. I give this film a 5 out of 10 dry martinis. Before I go into my actual review of this film, I want to make one thing clear. As a person, I enjoyed this film. As a critic, though, novice one, mind you, there are some flaws that bring it down in terms of score. This film was directed by Paul Feig, who has directed Spy, Ghostbusters, Bridesmaids, and a couple episodes of The Office. The Niagara Falls episodes, and Goodbye Michael. Some heartwarming ones there. It stars Anna Kendrick from Twilight, Up in the Air, Pitch Perfect, Aka Avi. Blake Lively from Cafe Society, Age of Adeline, and The Shallows is also in here. Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians is in here, and man, what a year for him. Bashir Saludin, I think if I pronounced that right, from Glow is here as well, in a minor role. He also wrote for Jimmy Fallon a couple times, which is... he's just a funny guy, and I can see that. So like I said, I enjoyed this film as a person, as like a typical audience viewer. Each thrill and twist made me show some sort of emotion, whether shocked or like, OMG, they just went there kind of face. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a solid film. And unfortunately, I can't get into a lot of that because of spoilers. But I do want to make that apparent in my non-spoiler section. It's contradicting to say that I enjoy something, but at the same time I didn't. But that's like the two sides of our brains working. The normal side and then the critic side. I think most audience members and critics can agree that this film does good at the beginning. It does. And then by the time the third act is starting to wrap up, it kind of goes off the crazy train. Like goes off the rails of that specific train. There's like no musical score, by the way, too. It is a very silent film. I thought Searching was silent, but, you know, that's better than nothing I heard on Simple Favor. The three main actors do really well. Henry, Anna, and Blake all do fantastic, I think. They all act their collective cute little fox socks off. So it's not like I don't enjoy thrillers. One of my favorite movies, well, I mean, probably top 25 or 50, which that sounds bad, but I've seen a lot of fracking movies, so that's actually a pretty good standard. It's a movie from 2007 called Disturbia. It had Shia LaBeouf in it, and I love that. It was a horror thriller when A Simple Favor is a comedy thriller, but a thriller to me, I've always enjoyed like the one linear path of X person finds evil dude, no one believes him the first time, bad things keep on happening, and eventually at the end of the movie, the bad person gets caught, and the good person's like, ha, told you so. But it's thrilling throughout. There's twists, minor twists, and like shakes and scares and stuff like that. I actually enjoyed that a lot. And I love Disturbia. And, you know, it's a 2007 film, so I mean, it's over a decade old, so you got to give it a little bit of leeway for stuff at the time. But what I like about it is it's a simplistic thriller. There's a one branch, and it doesn't really branch off into too many things. You know, a romantic story arc, something like that, or a fun little twist to make your movie stick out from others. Like in this case, Shia LaBeouf was under house arrest, so there's a lot of plot points around that, or like comedy bits. But for the most part, it's a very linear path. But in A Simple Favor, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. And we're going to start dabbling in spoiler territory. So I'll finish up the rest of it and we'll get to there. But in the end, it's a fun time. In terms of movie, the ending will shock you. A lot of things will shock you. The twist at the end will be like, well, never would have guessed that coming. For the most part, I think. I didn't see it coming. And I've seen a lot of movies, so, you know, the movie creators can give themselves a pat on the back. I didn't see it coming. That's because it's so psychotic of an ending that I would never see it coming. So to get back into spoiler territory, so I guess now just know that a lot of my critiques of this film comes from the spoiler part, so if that's why you don't think the normal part was meaty enough, it's because a lot of it comes from the spoiler side that I want to talk about. So like I was saying with Disturbia, it's like one linear path, but in this movie there's a lot of paths going on. There's an incest path that branches off and kind of gets fulfilled, but a lot of implied stuff. There's a twin sister type thing that gets implied off. There's, you know, insurance fraud that goes off a path and kind of gets resolved. You get the picture. Lesbian romance, affairs, after funeral sexy time. There's a lot of things branching off and going on in this film, and they all kind of blow up in your face at the end. So in the end, this is going to be hardcore, so do not listen to this if you want to watch this movie in its entirety. Or actually watch the movie, then come back and watch this bit. So in the movie, Blake's character and Henry's character get out a $4 million life insurance policy before anything happens in terms of craziness, before Emily goes missing and all that jazz. Then Emily kills her sister, and it's convenient because they just did the life insurance policy on an unrelated note, and then Emily supposedly called her husband and said, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" And they came up with the idea to leave the sister, dead twin sister, in a lake with a car and pretend that's Blake's character to get the life insurance policy, which is a whole bunch of bag of conveniences. But in the movie, the twin sister is swimming in the lake naked and gets killed. But when they bring her up, it looked like she was clothed, and she wasn't in the car. And I assume Blake's character didn't go full speed into the lake to where a window could crack or anything would be broken. I assume she just let it on neutral and just push it into the lake for it to fall and just go naturally to the bottom or as deep as it could go. So then the body is not anywhere near the car. It should be naked, but it isn't. And even if it was naked and I missed that in the film, no one thought that was weird that a naked chick went into the river, into the lake. So that's all weird. Also, fingerprints is a thing. The ending is just a nightmare. How? Like, how does Emily know that she had a mic in her outfit at the end? How did they get a mic in her outfit? How did the police get Phil to go to a different house by Blake pretending to be Anna's character, and then yet still have enough time to get to the current house they're at to save Anna before she gets killed? And then also, how does the other dad in the mommy group know to get to their house after watching the live stream, a live stream, to know that she's in danger? In real time, in movie time, not even real time, movie time, it was maybe 3 minutes between when Anna's like, "Oh, I'm recording you, sorry honey," like being in danger, and then being outside to where this guy could hit them with their car. And also, wasn't he just getting swatted at his own house and he had marijuana and stuff? You know, and he made it seem like, oh, it was fine, like, because I had a medical condition, so that makes me think they're in the state they're in, it's illegal to have it. So wouldn't it take some time to clear? And then the SWAT team doesn't get there, but normal police force does. So then how did he beat a SWAT team to a crime scene and beat the police to a crime scene when he was in that situation? This film doesn't want to make sense at the end. A lot of stuff is going on, and all of it gets wrapped up. And I think the worst thing about this, and this is a differentiating opinion from some people, but for me personally, when I watch a film, and at the end of the film, there's narration essentially on the screen, like in typed words, messages, or something explaining how the movie goes on. To me, a movie that does that is something like Unbroken, Letters of Iwo Jima, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers. Movies that happen, those are all war films, but movies that happen in real life, The Blind Side, Rudy, you know, to get non-war films in there. All those films have stuff at the end that says, hey, this is what happened the rest of the life. Because the movie might not have time, it might not have the budget, or something like that to go on and tell you about what's happened, you know? And stuff like that I enjoy, because it's, you get clearance of the main plot of a movie in historical film, and then at the end it says, here's what's also going on. Other examples would be Operation Finale and Sully for more modern movies. I like those, especially when they bring in, like, the photos of the real people that they're talking about. Like in Operation Finale, it was actually the actual film of the Nazi war criminal on trial, even though we just saw it in the film, and it's just, that kind of stuff is cool. But A Simple Favor did it. This isn't based on anything, you know, in terms of real life. And it was telling me all these things while also showing me videos of it, essentially. It showed a video of Anna going back to her little mommy vlog but then it says in a text that, hey, she went back to her mommy vlog and is really successful. You could show that. Pick one or the other. Preferably the video, and screw the text, because this isn't a real life film. And then Henry Golding's character went to somewhere else with his son and is fine and dandy. They didn't show anything about that, but you could have just showed him at a different university, and I would have been like, oh, he moved away and he's still fine, and like show him pick up his kid. And then Blake Lively's character is in jail and adjusting really well, and you could see that, but then they tell you that. It's really, it's like the last 40 seconds, but it's just annoying when you're trying to be lazy, but at the same time you're putting work and effort into it, but then still doing the lazy route. You're doing both at the same time. So just pick one, preferably the movie, like live action bit of it, and then go on with your life. And another thing, how did, out of the 3 main characters, only one go to jail? Anna technically was going to commit murder, was in on the insurance thing, you know, didn't tell police of a missing persons case or a murder of Blake Lively's sister by Blake. She didn't tell anyone about that as soon as it was. So in some states she'd be an accomplice in some points because she didn't report anything to the police at multiple points. And then Henry Golding's character, who was married to Blake's character, was in on the murder, kind of. He's like, yeah, don't tell anyone. Hide the car, commit insurance fraud, all that jazz. He kept his son and like his teaching degree and just went off and lived another life. That's weird. And so at the end of the day, the most psychotic person, Blake, gets thrown in jail, and the other two that are terrible people. I mean, Anna's character is a brother fucker and had incest and has a kid with her brother. It's heavily implied so. And that led to her husband killing himself and her bastard incest son's daddy in a suicide. So that's kind of her fault. So she's kind of a bad person. And she sleeps with a man on the night of a funeral of her best friend's death. And the Henry Golding character has sex with someone on his wife's funeral days. That's his wife's best friend. So all of it, they're all terrible people in some aspects. Yeah, and the character is really nice to her kid in the beginning. He's like overdoing everything, overcompensating like a single mom might. And I love that, but she gets rid of that. The only character arc for her is reverting back. Going backwards, I think, in some cases. You know, there's a difference between getting a backbone and still being a nice person, and then turning into something that, arguably at the end of the film, is, you know, could go slowly on a path, not like Blake's character, maybe not as much murdery, but as dickish and slimy as you could maybe get down the road. That's jumping the gun there, but still. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff I don't like at the end, but everyone acts well, so it's kind of, you know, that's why it gets a 5 out of 10. It's just there's too many things going wrong with not enough things going right to even it out. I guess since it's 5 out of 10, it's pretty even. But that's it for me. That's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys thought about the movie down in the comments down below. And if you're going to put spoilers, just put spoilers in the top there so people know. But as always, my name is Clark Addison. I review entertainment because I care. I'll see you guys in the next one.